My wife actually went into labor while we were at the gym. I was training and she's like, my stomach's starting, I'm like, well, go lay in the back.
Yeah.
And then boom, she's like, I think I'm in labor. And I'm like,
Oh my God.
all right, well, let me finish class and then we can go. So boom, she ended up just leaving and stuff. And then boom, I met her up at the hospital and sure enough, boom, he was born. And so.
What's up? This is Gardy with Clear Life Media, Clear Life Combat. We're at the Clear Life Media HQ here in League City. I have a guest that's in studio. I'm going to let him introduce himself. We're going to find out everything he has going on. Hey, what's up?
Y'all? It's Justice Torres here hanging out with my boy.
Yeah. So if someone hasn't met you before, where do you train and what you got going on? What do you do?
I train over at 4 ounce. I'm the former 145 champ, just making my way up the ranks.
Yeah. I guess you went pro about the same time. I think Michael Aswell did, right? And y'all's careers have kind of been, they're trending in that.
Like that neck and neck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we have not like a competition with each other who's gonna get there first, but it's like, he wins a fight, I won a fight, and we just kept going and going and going. And so now we're both, he's a little bit closer now since I am coming off that loss, but we're both right there on that doorstep, just trying to make it in.
Yeah, and I think that y'all both went pros around the time of that Dana White looking for a fight.
Yeah.
Did that play a factor on making that decision?
No, it was really Coach Saul. I just waited till I got Coach Saul's approval. He told me, he's like, all right, you're going pro. I was like, okay. I had no intentions. I wasn't sure when or what. And then he was like, yeah, you're going to be on that card too. So I was like, it made it even more cooler. So
yeah.
So then also too, Mana, he actually, got to go to the back with Dana White and I got to meet him. And I was like, I made my pro debut. Try picture my name right off the rip. My first pro fight. Try picture my name. But yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I remember that fight, Mana. That was like a crazy highlight finish. Like you couldn't have written it any better than that.
Exactly. Everything played out perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Do you remember, did Dana say anything? Like back, just like, hey, kid. I always hear him say.
Well, so I met him before Mana's fight, right? And then I was like, because I'm thinking, he's going to be here from start to finish. So I was like, hey, man, my name's Justice Torres. I just had my pro debut. You should check it out. And then he was like, all right, kid. And then he's like, kept walking on. And I was like, nah, he don't know who I am. He don't know nothing.
Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. So what's your record right now?
I'm 10-3.
10-3. I mean, that's a lot of fights in a couple years. How you stay so busy, or I mean, even stay healthy enough to get that many fights?
I mean, I'm always training as far as that, but also too, like as far as like in the fights, honestly, I guess you can say hats off to Cameron, because that's like the only fight I've ever came out where I actually looked like I was in a fight. Usually, I'm not beat up. I might be sore, because it's a fight. But as far as like actually taking some serious damage, I've never really taken any serious damage. So I can always go right back to the gym training and just get ready for the next one.
Yeah. How would you describe your style? I
just push forward. I like to just keep going forward. I mean, I think I'm pretty good anywhere the fight goes. So if we go to the ground, I'm confident there. But I like to keep it standing. So,
yeah. I was trying to remember, because I've gotten the chance to talk to a lot of people, and we talked, once before, but this was years ago. Before
that was for I want to say I was going to watch Cameron Smotherman fight at the Humble Civic Center, and yeah, you caught me on the way in, and you're like, hey, you want to do this little interview? And I was like, heck yeah, dude, let's do it.
I had a spot. Yeah, I had a spot set up right there, and that was fun because I did get to talk to a lot of people. Josh Van fought on that card too, because I remember I went in the back and I actually did an interview with him, but I never released it because the camera wasn't there. It was only audio, and yeah, I just remember that
he's a cool dude.
Yeah. So you have some pretty high level teammates and training partners over there.
Yeah, I mainly train with Hector Signs, Michael Aswell, Nick Osuna. So
yeah,
those two.
Nick's good too.
He's a monster. He's a monster.
Yeah. Who are some people that are, I guess, that people should be on the lookout? Because I mean, you and Michael are names people have heard of before, and y'all are like right there.
Yeah, definitely Nick. Our boy Jorge, like I said, he's fighting on that card with Houston for the title. Just overall 4 ounces, just like we got so many up and comers. Like we did a smoker, and when we did that, seeing that the young talent where they're at, it was like, dang, we kind of graduated from where we started this, and now we're seeing it. And I'm like, yeah, they're gonna be some killers. So just overall 4 ounce itself, they got so many up and comers.
The other person that's probably on the come up is your son.
Yeah, hey,
Right?
yeah,
I see a lot
hey,
of footage
yeah.
of him,
Watch out for Dominic, man. I'm telling you, he actually we just signed him up, so
yeah.
we finally made the decision to sign him up because the other day at school he got in trouble, and I'm like, so his teacher called us, but we didn't bring it up. You know, we wanted to see if he would tell us. So apparently they were at lunch, and they're pushing each other playing, and he put the kid in like a rear naked choke and just started choking him, and the kid's like freaking out, and then he has food in his mouth, so it made it even worse, and so he starts choking, and so the teacher comes over and he's like, well, he was pushing me and he was put and it's that thing. But before, he wasn't training, he would just come to the gym with me and watch. So finally I was like, man, I don't know if I want to put him in this now, because what if he goes to school and does this? But since he's been doing it, it's kind of like he gets it out his system there, and I'm like, all right, this is where you can choke someone. You don't choke people here. And so yeah, so he's getting the hang of it. Michael's coaching him, so which is good. He's got, Michael's very good with the kids teaching that class. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what do you even say? Because at one point it's like, man, if someone's messing with you, please, by all means, stick up for yourself. You're kind of
Yeah.
proud of him, but at the same time, hey, you can't do that like that.
So at first, whenever like he started like going to school and stuff, I always told him, I was like, dude, don't let no one pick on you. If they hit you, you hit them back. But it would be like, well, he took my pencil and he's picking
Yeah,
on me. I'm like, no, I mean, if he pushes you, I was like, how about this? He pushes you, tell the teacher. If the teacher's not doing anything and the kid's continually messing with you, then you can defend yourself. But I was like, don't just go beating people up. I was like, you can't do that. And then what made it worse? So get this. So like I said, boom, we didn't bring it up to him, and the teacher ended up sending him home with the report that we had to sign. So we're like, okay, cool. Where's this report? Well, he came home and he like waited till like we weren't looking, ran to his backpack because we always check his backpack for homework, takes it out and hurry up and sticks it in the trash. But he like sticks it underneath some stuff, and my wife, she happened to just see the corner of it, and she was like, "Wait a minute, that wasn't there earlier." And she pulls it out. It's got like egg juice on it, and it basically says what happened. And I'm like, Dominic, what are you doing, dude? And he was like, I thought y'all wouldn't find it. I'm like, dude, I was like, little do you know, she called us. So then we had to make him made him write a paper saying like, I will not do this, I will not do that, and he had to
I
go
will not
apologize.
rear naked choke.
Yeah, right. You ever seen the post where it was like, you get called to the office for your kid, and it's
How was
like,
this form?
yeah, how was his form? That's exactly. I was like, was he short choked? Did he have it locked in? Like, what
Yeah.
were we doing
Did you
here?
get both hooks in?
Yeah, exactly. So
Dude, that's fun. That's fun. Do you think? I mean, how old is he? You think he has a?
he's 6.
Yeah, because it seems like. I mean, I have kids,
Hmm.
and they kind of mess around with it or whatever. But he looks like he's serious. Like he'll go put work in, right?
No, no, he does. Like, and I've never pushed him on it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I've never like because he's been literally since the day he was born. I would like hold him like this, and I used to watch this little like MMA podcast, and he would watch it with me. The UFC fights, he's just laying there watching it with me. So from the time he was born, since now he's been watching everything. He's always gone to the fights, and then like I said, I started training and he started coming to the gym with me. My wife actually went into labor while we were at the gym. I was training and she's like, my stomach's starting, I'm like, well, go lay in the back.
Yeah.
And then boom, she's like, I think I'm in labor. And I'm like,
Oh my gosh.
all right, well, let me finish class and then we can go. So boom, she ended up just leaving and stuff. And then boom, I met her up at the hospital, and sure enough, boom, he was born. And so, but yeah, like Sunday fun day with Frank, he shows up and he puts in the work. Frank doesn't have to tell him nothing. Like he grabs his little weights and he does his thing. We do the sprints. He loves Josh. Like Josh, he like idolizes him. So whenever he sees Josh running, he's trying to keep up right next to him. And the thing is though, is like, he's only 6. So when we're doing our sprints, he's trying to keep up with us. And then like we take our, a couple second break, and he's trying to get there with us. And I'm like, I have to tell him like, hey, sit down for a second, because
Yeah.
dude, you're working too hard for your age. And then
Mm-hmm.
and then he'll sit down. He'll be, all right, I'm ready. I'm ready. And I'm like, all right, dude, come on, keep
Yeah.
going.
That's
So yeah.
cool. What's it like working with Frank?
Frank, man, he's awesome. He always makes the joke because like I guess you could say, I mean, obviously so. Like my striking wasn't good before at all. Like I usually just like would just go go go, and then also too just like mixing it up. So working with him and Chico, they both have like brought it up and have me move my head and actually using stuff. So trying to just the basics, because I kind of jumped right in and just kind of skipped all the basics. Whenever I took my first smoker, I was only training for like 2 months, and then I took my first like amateur fight after like I want to say like 4 or 5 months, and then from then on it was just like, oh, I'm just fighting, 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 fighting. Skip the basics. I'm just ready to go.
Yeah.
So,
Dang. What at what point did you decide you wanted to fight and like why? You know, like
well, so how it all kind of started was my older brother, he used to always like watch like the WWE with me, right?
mhm.
And he was like, "Bro, you know this shit's fake, right?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about, dude? This is real life, like Holyfield. Like there ain't nothing fake about this." And he's like, "Dude, this is fake." And I'm like, "No, no, it's not." And he showed me a fight. It was like a BJ Penn fight, and it was like the one where he like licked his gloves and stuff.
Mhm.
And I'm like, "That's fake." And he's like, "No, dude, this is real." And so then I started watching it. I was watching like the WEC with like Uriah Faber back in the day, and then I remember watching Forrest Griffin. And so then after that, it kind of like I kind of got hooked onto it, was watching it, but then I fell off. And then I was always playing contact sports, and then playing football. I'm like, I'm not going to the league, that's for sure. And then running track, I was like, not fast enough, not making it to the Olympics. Started playing rugby. I blew my shoulder out, and then had my surgery, came back, and I was like, I need to do something. So then yeah, and I've always gotten to fights like growing up. I was always like scrapping, whether just for fun or just because like someone said something that I didn't like. I'd be like, all right, we're gonna fight now, and then we just get into a fight and we just
Catch the
go.
fade. Catch the
Exactly.
fade.
No, straight up. Like I was the kid in school that was like, oh, oh, you said that? All right, come on, we're going to the bathroom. Bathroom. Meet in the bathroom right now, and then just beat them up.
Yeah. But just like not having actual training, but just going
Yeah,
in because
exactly.
that just
Yeah.
like to
And
fight.
so then yeah, so boom. So then finally I was like, man, I got my own. I ended up I was working at Lowe's. I saved up, bought a motorcycle, and I was like, now I can get around. I got my own wheels. I was like, so then I looked up a gym, found a gym in Kingwood, and started training there. And then from there, I ended up meeting Mana through a buddy of mine. Shout out Matt. He hooked me up with him and went to go train with Mana, and then Mana brought me to Saul, and then from then on, the rest is history. Now,
Okay.
yeah.
Cool. Are you from that area, Kingwood?
I used to live in Atascocita, yeah, but now I stay on like the east side, closer to Channelview.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Houston's such a big a big city.
Mm-hmm.
Like we could drive like and we were talking about that earlier. Like your teammate Houston from
Yeah.
Galveston to
Exactly.
4
Yeah.
ounce.
And what's crazy when I think about it is like, man, I never really realized like how many. Because like I said, I watched MMA and watched the UFC and everything like that, but I didn't realize how big it was, and how people drive from, like I said, Houston from Galveston all the way to 4 ounce or vice versa, wherever they're going. And so when I first looked up the gyms, I never even heard of 4 ounce. I never heard of Metro Fight Club. All I knew was I just found the first local MMA gym and just boom went in there, and I was like, "Oh, dude, this thing's amazing!" Not
Yeah.
knowing that it's like like a lower level gym. And
Mhm.
then once I heard about Metro Fight Club, and I walked in, I never forget. Like I walked in, I saw Adrian, I saw Cameron, Michael, Mana, Derek, Colton, England, and I'm like, and I found out like all their their accolades and what they do, and I'm like, oh, okay, these guys are real. Like these
Yeah.
guys are. It's not no joke. 'Cause where I was training, it was like 30, 40-year-old men just trying to just stay in shape, not even taking it serious, just just to do it. We had like maybe one other guy that was with me that was like trying to be a fighter, and that was really it. Other than that, it was just people just going in just to stay athletic, and that
Yeah.
was it.
Yeah. I mean, how much does that affect? I guess having those right training partners and those people that have the same mentality, the same goals.
It made all the difference because, like I said, you being the best person in the gym, right? You think you're so good. I went there my first day at Metro. Coach Saul kind of just put me through the ringer, and I got my ass beat. Like I'm talking about beat. I went to the bathroom, bloody nose. I'm like, I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. And I'm like, because I'm like, I went from beating people up to just now I'm getting beat up, and I'm like, dude, what the hell is this? But when I went home and I told my wife, I'm like, she's like, so how was it? I was like, I don't want to talk about it. And she's like, that bad? I'm like, dude, it's not even funny how bad I got my ass whooped. She's like, for real? Because she's seeing me beat up on these grown men and stuff, and I'm thinking I'm the hot shot. And so then yeah, I was like, wow, this is exactly what I needed. Like if I want to be great, if I want to do things with this, I gotta be surround myself by greatness. And so yeah, that was it. I
Yeah,
was like,
there's that I guess that they call like a false sense of security
mm-hmm.
or these people that maybe don't get in fights or they've been in a street fight before but they haven't trained and then you go
Mhm.
And then you never know. You respect people that walking down the street more because it's like, dude, I don't want to get in a fight. I don't know what they know. I don't, like,
But
just kind
also
of want to avoid
too,
it.
it almost like calms you down because, like I said, I was always a hothead,
Mm-hmm.
but now whenever you start training, it kind of calms you down as far as like, dude, I can just mess you. I'm not gonna fight you. You're gonna get hurt, and I'm gonna be in trouble. So let me not do this.
Yeah,
But yeah.
yeah, I like it. So your record, you said is 10-3. And
Hmm.
you mentioned you are coming off that loss. I mean, how is it handling a loss like that? Having a title, reaching one stepping stone, and then kind of like, okay, a slight pause.
Well, man, it was I want to say well, first off, Cameron and his coach Alex, they had the perfect game plan. It seemed like, but you got to think, Alex had watched me from the ground up. He's watched me from my first amateur fight all the way till that fight right there. So it was almost like they knew all my tendencies and they just knew everything. So when I went in, I wasn't like cocky that I was just gonna like obliterate them, but like at the same time, like I had no doubt in my mind that I was gonna win. And so when things started going like south, I'm like, damn, dude, like this is that fight. I got to start digging deep and just he always stayed that one step ahead, one step ahead, one step ahead. And I think also too, I let a lot of the pressure get to me just because so much was riding on that fight. Like I'd already had my manager had hit me up and was like, hey, can you make weight? This was on the MSG card. So he was like, "Can you make weight?" And I'm like, about that. I'm kind of heavy right now." And he's like, "Look, if you can make the weight, we'll fly you out tomorrow,
Wow.
and you'll be fighting. It's gonna be against David Onama." He's like, "You'll be fighting David Onama at MSG." So I'm like, I'm starting to freak out. I'm like, dude, I'm like 175, 177, like somewhere around there. And I'm like, okay. I was like, I need to figure out what I'm gonna do. So then I asked him, like, can it be at 55? 55, I can make that. 45, no, I'm not making losing 30 pounds by the end of the week. It's not gonna be. If I do, I'll probably get knocked out within like the first 10 seconds with a jab.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm like, and I don't want that.
Right.
So long story short, that it just fell through. So I knew, I'm like, all right, well, I'm definitely like I'm there. I just have to win this fight, and then you never know, a short notice could call in, or they could just call me in. So the pressure of that, and then I think just like I said, just overall, like everyone, like, bro, you got this. You're gonna walk through them, and it just finally kind of started. You just all that weight was on my shoulders, and so yeah. But since the loss, it's bothered me so much. Like, 'cause I know I can beat him. Like, if we fought again, I know I'll win. Like, I guess I feel like I just didn't show up. I let that pressure get to me, and I didn't show up. And so, but now, like, it is what it is at this point. You gotta let it go, and then you just gotta get ready for the next one and show everybody who you are.
Yeah.
So that's really it now.
Do you feel like you still have, I mean, obviously the support of your family, but is there ever like a feeling like, man, these people like almost like turn their back on you after a loss in a way?
So it's kind of crazy. Is like yes and no. Like, but for example, like Max, I was just telling him, dude, I was like, because right before I actually like officially like met him face to face. It was right before that fight, and we were talking and talking about like him sponsoring me and doing some stuff. And then sure enough, he was like one of the first people to hit me up. I was like, hey man, keep your head up, dog. Great fight. And then he was like, he came to the gym, said what's up to me. And I'm like, bro, I really appreciate because like for example, he was like, bro, no, I'm down. Like, I'm down with you. That's it. Like, we're good. Don't worry about if you lose. Like, I don't care about that. And also too, like a lot of my sponsors, they're all like real close to me. So none of them have like turned their back. As far as like the people, like family and friends, like some of the family, like I noticed after I took my first loss, some of the family that like would show up, they didn't want to buy a ticket no more. Or like, some friends, they're like, oh, something came up. But I don't pay no mind to that because at the end of the day, I'm gonna do me. I'm gonna make it all the way. And whenever you make it all the way, they're gonna want to come back. But I,
Right.
I see where you stand now, so we're good. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Man, there's a lot of people, you get to meet and I think about like I'll see like if someone gets like a highlight or something, I'm
Hmm.
like, man, it almost I can't imagine how that would feel to get like highlighted. You
Hmm.
put yourself out there and it's like it's part of the game or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't even like if I see it, like I don't even like it. Like on social media, I'm like, no, like because that's my if you're from Houston or connected in a way,
Hmm.
it's like nah, and I can't imagine how that feels.
I've always told my wife, and even just if like I'm like you never know, I could be on a highlight. I was like,
Mhm.
or I could be given the highlight. It's just what comes with the game. Like if I'm getting choked, I'm not gonna tap. I'm gonna fight until I go to sleep because technically, if you want to think about it, I didn't tap, so I didn't lose. I'm like,
Yeah, yeah.
y'all stopped the fight, not me. I'm still trying to fight. So guess what? But like obviously I don't I pray to God I never get like some crazy head kick knockout like what happened to Kamaru Usman or something like that, or like a Jorge Masvidal knee to the face. I'd never want anything like that, but
Yeah.
it comes with the game, so
Yeah.
you
No,
just got to be ready for it.
the last Fury fight card, there was a lot of finishes, like
Hmm.
highlight finishes and stuff on up and down the card.
Yeah.
Just remember watching that. I was like,
It's almost like too with the amateurs. You feel like the amateurs sometimes, like even though they're just now starting off, but some of them they just don't care. Like they're not worried about nothing. They're just going in there to bang,
yeah.
and they'll get some crazy knockouts.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then some people like that are like pro, that's been pro, they're worried about their record, they're worried about this, and they almost fight safe.
Yeah. One guy, Nico Echeverry out of
Dude,
ACS, and he's been fighting. I mean, he's been fighting for a long time.
fought Devin Dixon, right? You talking about that fight?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
I
that,
did not see that knockout coming. I'm not
yeah.
gonna lie.
And that's what, the commentary team, doing their homework and saying like, "Hey, Nico said we're going to see a different Nico," and
Hmm.
cuz he has very grappling heavy, super
And
strong.
push you up against the cage, grind on you. But yeah, I
Yeah.
did not see that coming. But that's just it. He had confidence. Like he had the confidence. He just let his hands go, and sometimes all it takes. That's really all it takes. He's building that confidence. Like
Yeah.
with Frank and Chico, they've been helping me build my confidence and stuff, and with me letting my hands go more and pushing the pace. So, hopefully you start seeing me get some knockouts like that.
Yeah. I mean, to get that, like, even let do you pick your spots, or like, what do you just trust your coaching?
Like my first like actual like knockout was in the amateurs. It was right before I went pro. I fought this guy named Brandon Cancino, and it was the same combination that Coach Saul had us drilling. It was just like a 1-2 head kick and then finishing it with a hook. And I threw it, or it was a 3-2 head kick, and then whenever I threw it, I didn't even feel it. And he gets next, I'm like, I threw it, and then all of a sudden he's like laid out on the floor, and I'm like, oh my god, he's knocked out, but didn't feel it on my hands. But now when you're loading up for that punch, and you're like just trying to just knock him out, and you're just hitting them, you're like, why aren't they going down? It's like I don't know. It's weird. They just disappeared almost like.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about hardstyle. I see you rocking the hat.
Yes, sir. Shout out Max, hooked me
Got
up
the
with
shirt.
this. Thank you to him.
Yeah. Whenever you, I guess, how'd you start working with them?
So I saw him with Houston first, and I'm like, bro, what is that's a dope rash guard. What is that?
Mhm.
And he told me about it, and so I'm like, dang, I'm like, you think you hook me up with him? And he was like, yeah, man, dude, he's a cool ass dude. He's like, I'll hook you up. And so I think I messaged him first actually, and I told him, he's like, yeah, man, I'll I'll come up there and bring you some stuff. So he brought me some stuff, and ever since then, yeah, we've done little clips here and there. He came to the Apex grappling with me,
Yeah.
and he was cool. He was actually helping help coach me with that some of the stuff too.
Oh yeah. Heck
Yeah, because
yeah.
Nick and Houston, they had to end up dipping, so then it was just me, and so I had Frank there, and then one of the other guys, I forget his name. He's Max sponsors him as well,
Mhm.
and he had his Max, so he had all of us. He was videotaping everything, and yeah. So the guy, I just remember he was going for like a heel hook, and they were like walking me through it because I hate when people mess with my ankles.
Right.
I'm like, dude, especially for
Yeah. You
this.
just like
I'm
hammer
like,
fist.
yeah, I'm like, I can't hammer fist you right now. And mind you, I haven't done a grappling like max or anything like that since like 2018.
Yeah.
So I was like, and then he starts going for the ankles, and I'm like, oh, dude, please don't, please don't. And then they're like, 2-on-1, like hold it, and then like hop up, he's walking me through the steps. So I'm like, okay, and then boom, got out of it. And like I said, he's just went out, had some drinks with him. He's a cool dude,
Yeah.
real cool dude.
That's cool. I saw some of I'd almost call them memes where it's like Frank's like, just get up.
Yeah, yeah, right. So
Stand up.
Professor Frank over here. Yeah, the guy. I told him right off the rip. I was like, I'm just gonna balls to the wall. I'm trying to pick him up, slam him,
Yeah.
get it over with. I was like, I just want to get in, have some fun. And mind you, I was doing timekeeping. Right, I was helping Frank out. I was like, I'm gonna do the timekeeping. So on the sheet, it showed like it was gonna be Brianna, Terrence, and then me. And so then I saw him like, well, Regis went, so Terrence should. I was like, Terrence isn't here. I was like, oh shit, I'm up next. So I like ran over and I started trying to do like some stretches, some squat jumps, trying to get ready. And then I'm like, Frank, I'm about to go. And they're like, oh, no, we're going to push you back. And I'm like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
bet. So then I get back to timekeeping and I'm standing there and I'm like right there by the cage, he's doing it. And then I hear Felix, whatever his last name was. And I'm like, that sounds like my guy's name. And then they're like, and now we got Justice Torres. I'm like,
Throw
oh
the pen.
shit. I'm like, all right, well, someone hold the phone, do the timekeeping. And
Yeah.
so I didn't even stretch or nothing. I just got in there and I was like, let's just go at it. Let's just have some fun. I don't care if I get submitted or not. I'm just trying to have fun.
Right.
So then boom, we're going, and then yeah.
what I mean is it's totally different than MMA because I can see
No,
right.
honestly, I like it a lot better than like your typical grappling, just because I mean, if you're an MMA fighter, I'd say, because or if you're just you have that aggressive style, because you can pick them up, you can slam them. It's you can use the cage to your advantage, so it has a lot of its good attributes I like.
So the cage probably would be, very advantageous,
Mm-hmm.
having that MMA background versus the jiu-jitsu guys because you get stuck up like I've trained jiu-jitsu with some MMA guys and Houston puts me up against my back up against the wall.
And then you're stuck there.
I'm stuck.
Yeah.
Bro, he's already freaking strong.
Exactly, and so, that's what ended up happening. So the guy, he ended up getting me down, had me up against the cage, and I could use the cage to my advantage to get up since I'm so, like used to doing it. So Frank goes, just stand up, and I'm like, what? And I'm like looking over him. He's like, just stand up. I'm like, all right, fine, just stand up. And so then I just like stood up with him on me and like threw him off.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, there you go, see, it works. I was like, it's that easy. I'll just do it.
Expert coaching. Yeah, by the
Expert coach.
instructional.
Yeah. So shout out Professor Frank.
Yeah, Frank. I mean, I need to get Frank in here whenever he has
No,
some
dude,
time on
he's
his
yeah, he's a
video.
cool dude. He's fun to
Seems
talk.
funny, super
Honestly,
funny on Facebook.
he's yeah, no, he's super funny. But the thing is he's camera shy, so you might
Yeah.
have to get him a few shots in or something. Maybe he'll do it because he's a shy guy.
And we can get someone else in here too.
Yeah,
Like,
right. Maybe if we come in here with him together, he'll
yeah.
do it. But yeah, because we Max was like, hey, you want to do your interview for after the Apex thing? He's like, oh no, 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 I don't want to. And I'm like, bro, get your ass over there, go do it. You're the host of this, go do it. And so finally we got him to do it.
Yeah. Was the event? It was pretty well put together. I seen
Oh,
the
no, yeah,
Apex stuff.
exactly. Yeah. So they're just starting off too, is the
Mhm.
thing, right? So, they're gonna have their like, and also too, I think he does it also with Peak.
Right. Right.
So when he's doing it with Peak, I believe the venues are bigger and stuff. So this
Mhm.
was over at damn, I forget the name of the gym, but he actually the head guy, he just competed at Submission Hunter.
Okay.
But like I said, the gym over in San Antonio, they got their cage. They put the cage up over by the wall, lined up all the chairs. They had a back mat space for everyone to warm up at.
Mhm.
It was a good venue. Like for them just now getting together and stuff, it
Yeah.
worked out good.
That's sick.
And then what was cool was one of the guys who competed, I believe the place is called the War Ready Room,
Okay.
and it's like a bar, like a little bar that he has, and also too it sells like coffee, so it's pretty cool. And we went there afterwards. They're doing karaoke, playing the matches back onto the
Oh
TV,
yeah.
so it was pretty
I
cool.
think I saw some of the story.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I
like
think
you're
it's
sitting there chilling, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh look, there's me on TV.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
so
pretty sick.
it was cool.
um, man, what's it like? I guess seeing those teammates or training partners, on the big show. You're just talking about seeing them, yourself on TV and
Hmm.
stuff. But Cameron Smotherman,
Yeah.
Adrian.
So like watching all of them from I've always been inspired by like Mana and them from the jump, because like I said, where I started from was so small. So like it was just kind of like when seeing them, they're like, whoa, these guys are like superheroes to me at first, right?
Mm-hmm.
So seeing Mana do the Dana White looking for looking for a fight, doing that. And then I remember my first like fight that I went to go really watch for Adrian was whenever he fought Kyle Estrada at LFA, and seeing how he had like his own room in the venue and all. I'm like, dang, this is dope. And then now watching them make it to the UFC. And then, for example, I just went to Josh's last fight in Vegas. That man, dude, like seeing what he's accomplished from like how fast he got into MMA to where he's at now,
It's crazy.
he's like on a rocket ship and he's just
Yeah.
going. So it's so inspiring, especially him, like watching him do it. And he's such a humble dude too. That's what I always tell him. Like I said, my kids, like they love him. Like we get there early on Sunday fun day, and like they'll see him, they run up to him, they'll just be like laid up on the couch waiting for Frank to get there. And he's the same person from the day he started, even though now he's like this UFC superstar now.
Yeah. I think I saw something. It was a tweet or someone made a graphic, and it was like Josh Van is 7-1, and he's in the UFC. He's been in the UFC like 2 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Having that many fights is crazy. So, and I think that's also too like just like why people like him so much. He's always active. Like some people say they love to fight. He loves to fight. Me and him spar, and I'll have like 40 pounds on him, and he'll still like I helped him a little bit for his last fight, like the last like probably a week before. I was just trying to grind on him,
Mm-hmm.
and man, he was feeling strong, and I just knew like whenever he goes here when he goes to Vegas, man, that guy's not gonna be able to take him down.
Yeah.
Like I would get a body lock on him, try and break him down, and try and drop my weight down on him, and he was staying up, he was getting the underhooks and getting off the cage and staying in the center. So
Yeah.
or just trying to walk him down, and he was just no matter what. Just we just Shark Tanked him, and he just stayed ready the whole time.
Yeah. Two things about Josh. I know when I had the chance to talk to him here this last time, he was with this flag, and then he got
Hmm.
to carry his flag out, which I thought was really cool. And then I saw like my phone sent a notification that there was like an earthquake or there was a
Yeah,
natural disaster out
yeah.
there. So he started to a GoFundMe, which I
Hmm.
thought was, I mean that's what you should do. He's been in this
Exactly. Yeah.
position, and I know he cares.
Yeah, that was one of the things I wanted to make sure to bring up, just because, well, one, that flag that he got to walk out with, he gave me that flag,
Oh, that's
so
cool.
that's been
Yeah.
like the coolest thing.
Hmm.
That was like I said, like that was just so cool for him to do that and give it to me. So he gave me that, and I'm hanging it up in my garage. And I kept. What was funny though was, so we went to the MGM Grand, and drinking and stuff. So I'm not like drunk, but I'm feeling
Yeah.
good. So I'm wrapping the flag around me and stuff, and they're like, hey, that's that guy Josh Van's flag. I'm like, yeah. And I kept telling him, I'm like, hey, can I be like an honorary like Myanmar citizen? And he's like, bro, you're good, dog. I'm like, heck yeah. I'm like, so tell me some things, and he's like, yeah, we speak Burmese and da 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 da. And he's telling me the things, and I'm like, okay, bet. So next thing you know, I'm walking around, and they're like, hey, that's that flag from Josh Van. I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And they're like, are you from there? And I'm like, hell yeah. And they're like, what word? Like, do you know him? I'm like, I sure do. And then they're
Yeah.
like, dang, that's crazy. I'm like, yeah, we speak Burmese out there, man. And they're like, what? And they start asking too many questions. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I gotta go. I gotta go. You're
Yeah.
asking stuff I don't know. And so, and I would mess with Josh. I'd be like, I'd see him, and he's like, gambling, or he's just having a drink or whatever. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I start yelling. I'm like,
It's Josh.
that's Josh Van. And I'm like, I'm wearing his flag. And then some people were like, what? And then like people start coming over wanting to take pictures. But what's so cool about him is that like it doesn't bother him. Like he understands it kind of comes with it. Like, I mean, granted, he's not like Conor McGregor famous yet, but he will be there. That's for sure. And like he would take a picture with everybody. He would talk to them. They're like, hey man, and I'm sorry to bother you. No, dude, don't even worry about it. Come on, let's take the picture, dude.
Yeah.
And what was cool is also too is, which was surprising, some people were actually just like very respectful and just waited. Like we're just standing. Like I was like sitting there, and I'm like, who's this person just standing there? And I'm like, why are they looking at us? I'm like, oh wait, I'm with this famous person. No wonder they're looking over here. And I'm like, and then he's like, oh, you want to take a picture? And they're like, yeah, please. Is that cool? And he's like, yeah, come on.
Yeah,
And he
that
would
is
do
cool.
it. Never turned anybody down.
Yeah. And the fact that they see a flag and
Hmm.
they think, "Oh, I know that flag because of Josh Van," literally
Exactly. Yeah.
putting it on the map.
Exactly. He's
Like,
putting it on the map. So yeah. And then what's going on over there with, like I said, with the earthquake, they had like a 7.7 magnitude.
mm-hmm,
I've been seeing these videos of like these people on like these high rises,
mm-hmm,
and then even in the hospital, there's a video that was so sad to watch. There was like these nurses like that, they were holding like these newborn babies, and then like everything just started shaking. They have all of them in their cradles, and they're trying so hard to like keep everything from tipping over with newborn babies. So, you know, just really like if people get the chance, like donate, spread the word, just do whatever.
yeah, wow, man. Trying to think, we talked about a lot of stuff. We talked about hardstyle. I
Mhm.
mean, I guess is there any fight news for you coming up? What are
So
you thinking?
I'm trying to. I wanted to come back in May. We'll wait and see what happens. If not, I'm not in a rush right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just trying to, like I said, if it's ideal, May. If not, June, and
Yeah,
then we'll just go from there. But
pretty much take it a fight at a time.
yeah,
Like,
just taking a fight at a time. I don't want to get you. Like I get that when you're the champ, you got everybody that was like gunning for you, because now like I feel
mm-hmm.
like they're like, oh, he's down, so they're all gonna try and like build their name off me, and then get their way up. You beat the former champ, now I get to fight for the title, type of deal, type thing, right? So I get there's gonna be no easy fights, so I just gotta make sure I pick a smart fight, so I'm not going, because I don't, you gotta pick smart fights. I'm ready to fight anybody, but again, I listen to my coaches, what they say, and so we'll go from there. Because when you first start off, you're ready to fight anybody. That was before, like whenever wasn't with 4 ounce, send me the name, sign the contract, don't care. Didn't look them up, didn't do nothing. We just fought. But then now, you got coaches that look out for you, and they're telling you like, it's probably not a smart fight to take right now. Let's just, we'll give us some other options, and we'll go from there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, 4 ounce is like, it's a really good gym, but it's like I would count like a historic gym almost,
hmm,
because like you go back and look, and I mean, since I've been following MMA in Houston, like there's a lot of stuff that's
yeah,
it's
you
happened,
you
but
look
it's
you
like all
look on
these
the
coaches came out.
walls, and just even all the stuff that Daniel's accomplished,
Mm-hmm.
and you look on the walls, you see all the belts from the previous fighters and stuff. So I said they've been around, and they have their own history and stuff. So yeah, it's definitely like one of like the like big gyms in
For
Houston.
sure. I
Yeah.
feel like there should be like a documentary.
They probably could. Honestly, they could probably make a TV show off of our gym, dude. Our gym is so funny. The stuff that goes on there, like all the fighters are so outgoing and like they're funny. Like and then like BT, he just won another belt. Like we're just constantly like winning belts and just making history at this point.
Right. No, I agree, man. Justice, is there anything else you'd like to share or talk about?
Man, just shout out. Just first off, thank you for having me on
Of
here.
course, yeah.
You know, shout out Max and Hardstyle. Thank you for the shirt and the hat. I love it. And that's really it, man. Just if y'all want to follow me at J Torres _145. And just thank you for having me, man.
Of course, yeah. This is Guardy with Clear Life Media, Clear Life Combat. Y'all be blessed.